Many professionals, especially those in high earning careers, have the means to invest, but not always the alignment at home. You might be excited about diversifying into real estate or joining multifamily syndication, but your spouse isn't so sure. Sound familiar? So, today I'm going to talk about how to approach that conversation so that it becomes a partnership, not a point of friction. Now, in order to go there, first we need to understand why would a spouse disagree. And in my opinion, there's like four different reasons. One is risk perception. One spouse may see investing as an opportunity, the other sees as a gamble. Second is financial upbringing. What partner grew up with conservative money values? Real estate may feel too aggressive. Lack of familiarity. They might not have never heard of syndications, or they might not know anyone personally doing it. Fear of loss. The idea of wiring 50K, like too much. I mean, you don't, I don't know who I'm wiring to and who this, I'm not in control. So these are some of the common reasons why spouses disagree. So, first of all, these hesitations are common and entirely valid. So that that is the attitude you need to have. And I've seen this many, many, many times. So let's see. Now that you've acknowledged that, what is the framework for that conversation? Well, first of all, lead with shared goals, not with numbers. So, don't go there showing a spreadsheet with 15% IRR and all that stuff. That's not how to broach the topic. Instead, what will you achieve by investing in real estate, right? You talk about that, something that's shared and common between uh, you and them. So, for example, I've been thinking about how we can create more freedom in next 5 to 10 years. What if we could rely less on our W-2 income? Or another way to do that is our kids' college expenses are just 5 years away. Uh, it would be great if we can get a lump sum from the real estate investment by then instead of dipping into savings or stocks. So, shared long term goal like education planning, retirement, reducing work stays, it sets a collaborative tone. This is about life outcomes, not just spreadsheets. Second is explain why behind real estate, right? So stocks have been great, but they're volatile. Real estate feels more stable and is backed by a physical asset. It also gives us a stream of passive income. Real estate offers diversification, inflation protection, and potential tax benefits. Many people understand this intuitively, but haven't explored the specifics. And that's where you come in and you explain that there's a tax benefit involved here. There's a physical asset here. Right? Third is shared real examples, not just concepts. So like I know someone who invested 50K in a property that generates steady return every year. And the best part, they haven't have to deal with tenants and maintenance, right? It's this cousin of mine, is that talk about a real person, right? That they potentially know. Numbers are good, but stories stick. If you're already investing, share your experience. If you're still researching, refer to someone credible who has been through the journey. Fourth one is use what if we try one approach? You know, tasting the waters is less intimidating than diving in. So, what if we try just one deal, maybe a smaller one, We can treat it as a learning experience together. Now, this approach lowers the perceived risk and removes the pressure from both sides. You're not asking for the full commitment, just a step forward. And fifth and very important point is involve them in the process. Inclusion builds confidence. Would you want to join this call with me with a person who does syndications? This way, your spouse gets to ask their own questions, hear directly from someone knowledgeable, and become part of the decision making process. People don't trust what they don't understand, and this builds both clarity and confidence. And by the way, I've seen real conversations like this. Okay, um, here's what happened. One of the investors told me that, well, I was ready, but my wife said no way. Then I asked her to join the call with you. After hearing the logic and risk safeguards, she was more open than I expected. I've had many calls where the first when I've where I first speak to one spouse, then I have a second call with both of them. In almost every case, the resistance disappears after the spouse hears the information firsthand. And not because I did a great job, but simply because they got to exercise their own judgment and felt that they could trust me after the conversation. In fact, in some cases, the investment amount even increased after the discussion. In many cases, both spouses have joined right from the first call. I've heard spouses ask incredibly insightful questions, sometimes better than the person I've originally spoke with. And that makes sense. Two brains are always better than one when you are trying to learn something new. So, final tips, don't push, educate. Use stories, not stats. Respect their hesitations. Make the first investment feel like a test drive, not a permanent shift. Real estate investing is ultimately a team decision. Alignment isn't built overnight. But with the right approach, it can become a shared journey. One that leads to more freedom, more stability, and more intentional wealth building for your family. And as usual, for more information, go to oldmoneycapital.com. Thank you.